Mindful Life Practice community.
So we're going to move through a Vin Yin practice this morning, and I think most of you have joined me for one of these classes, but for those of you who haven't, it will be 30 minutes of kind of a vinyasa flow, but it will be gentle. It won't be super vigorous. And then we will drop into stillness in yin poses for the second half, deep stretches, bit more meditative, and can be nice to have like a pillow nearby if you have one, just to support yourself for some of the poses. All right, so let's get started into a child's pose. If you have your phone on, turn it off. I'm going to do that right now. Canceling out of my WhatsApp so that you can make this your time. I've recently been allowing my phone to kind of seep into my practice. I've been using it as an excuse, like I'm attending other people's yoga classes, but I'm like, I have to be tapped in, I have to be connected all the time. What if there's a problem with someone, you know, and they need me for the mindful life practice? If you haven't already dropped into a child's pose, go ahead. Can't remember if I told you to do that or not. But forehead is on the mat and arms are heavy. Anyway, I did Mark's gentle flow class this week, and it was the first time probably in a week or so that I turned off my phone and I was like, everything can wait. You know, nothing is urgent. And there is really nothing that I need to respond to in that hour. But if you constantly keep yourself connected, then you're not giving yourself that time to be in the present moment, to be in your body, to be in this space, which is one of the most important benefits of yoga. So I've silenced my phone, and now I'm going to start to silence my mind. Taking deep, complete inhales in through the nose, filling the lungs and the chest. And then exhaling to take gravity and allow it to just soften you a little deeper into your child's pose. Big breath in. And then big breath out. If you have an intention for your practice this afternoon, feel free to establish it now. My intention is to let this hour be about practicing self-care. Because we cannot pour from an empty cup. Take one more round of breath in your child's pose. Deep inhale. Deep exhale. And then slowly peel your body up into a table. So hands are on the mat, fingers are spreading. Draw your knees in to stack underneath the hips. And then when you breathe in, you are going to lift your heart and lift your chin. This is your cow pose. And then exhale, curl the spine, tuck the chin. This is your cat. So keep moving like this, rippling like a wave, inhaling. And then exhaling. 2 more. And then 1 more. And then come all the way into neutral. Just make a C curve with your spine and gaze over the right shoulder. And then come all the way back through center and then C curve the opposite way. Taking 1 more of each. And then coming all the way back through center. Walk your hands forward. You're gonna open through the heart a little bit and then either rest your chin or rest your forehead coming into puppy pose, a little bit of the back bend. So I recently had this realization that I don't teach a lot of back bends in my classes. I just got super into strength. I got super into planks and arm balances and forward folds. I had this realization that we do a lot of forward folding already in our lives. We create this shield around our hearts. We hunch our shoulders forward. We lean over our phones and our computers. And I think what a lot of us really need is a bit more heart opening, a little bit more back bending, tapping into our feelings and emotions, energetically lifting. So we're going to move through a back bend practice, expanding through the heart, expanding through the side bodies, the rib cage. It's really the cage that holds the heart. So slowly start walking your palms all the way back now. So you bring yourself into a table. And then tuck your toes, lift all the way up and back, coming into a downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Savasana. And then bend through your knees, take your gaze forward, walk your feet up to meet your hands. Take an inhale to halfway lift, lengthen through the spine, reach through the crown of the head. Exhale, forward fold. And then take an inhale, sweep both palms up towards the sky. You're going to interlace your palms. I'm going to tilt the thing slightly so you can see me. Interlace your palms, reach your palms up overhead. Stretch over to the right, getting a lateral side bend through your left side rib cage. And then take an inhale, lift slightly. Take an exhale, lean into it. And then inhale, come all the way up through center. And then side bend the opposite way. Inhale, lift a little. Exhale, lean a little. Inhale all the way back up, reach through the fingers. And then exhale your palms into heart center and let your thumbs connect to your heartbeat. Release your palms alongside your hips. Take an inhale, sweep your arms up towards the sky, upward mountain. Take an exhale, bend the knees, forward fold. Take an inhale, halfway lift. Take an exhale, forward fold. Take an inhale, lift your arms all the way up towards the sky. And then exhale your palms into heart center. Keep going like this. Inhale, lift the arms up. Exhale, reach the arms forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift all the way up to stand. Take your palms into heart center. Moving through one more. Inhale, reach your arms all the way up towards the sky. Exhale into a forward fold. Take an inhale, halfway lift, lengthen through the spine, reach through the crown of the head. Exhale your way back down, plant your palms. You're gonna step your feet all the way back, finding your plank, and you can either be in your plank with your knees lifted or with your knees rounded. Let's just stay for 5, for 4, for 3, for 2, and then on 1, land your knees if they're lifted. Slowly lower, draw your elbows all the way back as you land on your belly. Inhale, lift your heart. Exhale, lower. And then shift through a tabletop, find your way all the way up to your down dog. Taking 3 breaths. Bend your knees, gaze forward, step the feet up to meet the hands. Take an inhale, halfway lift. Take an exhale, fold, bend through the knees, sit the hips back, coming into your chair, staying here for 3, for 2. And then on 1, lift all the way up to stand, hands overhead, and then draw your palms into heart center. So we're gonna move through that flow 2 more times. Inhaling, lifting arms all the way up towards the sky. Exhaling, forward folding. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, lower, plant the palms, step back, flowing through your vinyasa. So from your plank through your chaturanga, through your back bend, and then up to your down dog. And when you arrive in down dog, find stillness. 3 inhales, 3 exhales. Bend through the knees, gaze forward, step your hands, inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold, bend through the knees, sit back, finding your chair, your Utkatasana. See that you can see your toes in front of your knees, building a little bit of fire in your thighs, taking 3 deep breaths. And then lifting all the way up to stand, inhaling, hands at heart center. Take an inhale. Take an exhale. This time, do that flow on your own with your own breath. And when you arrive in Tadasana, no rush to get there. Feel your thumbs connect to your heartbeat. Feel your body connect to your breath. And as you connect to the breath, you connect to the present moment. And if there is something on your mind that you are worried about, something that's popping up right now, just give yourself that little reminder. I am here right now. I am here right now. Inhale, reach both arms up towards the sky, upward mountain. Exhale, come into a fold. Take your inhale, lift into a halfway lift. And then exhale, lower back down, plant your palms, step back, flow through a vinyasa. Coming all the way back up to your down dog. And then this time, let's land onto both knees. And we're gonna play with our balance. So lift your right leg behind you. See if you can lift your right arm in front of you. Drawing your navel in and getting this long extension from fingertips all the way through heels. Taking a breath in. And then exhale, elbow into knee. 3 more, breath in. Breath out. 2 more, inhale. Exhale. 1 more, inhale. 1 more, exhale. Inhale, lift all the way. Bend through your right knee. Push your right heel up towards the sky. Reach your left arm back. If you want to stay just like this, go ahead. If you can reach your hand to your ankle, maybe playing with a bit of a back bend and a quad stretch, opening up through the heart. And then slowly unwind that. Land your left palm. Take your left toes off the mat. Lift your right arm up towards the sky. You're gonna land onto your right foot and then reach your right arm towards the front of the mat. So you're getting a nice lateral side bend through your right side body. Slowly come up to balance. And then we'll lateral side bend the opposite way. So your right hand lands on your right leg. And there's this big extension through your left side body. Yeah, you got it. Come all the way back, windmill palms onto the mat. Tuck your left toes, lift all the way up, 3-legged dog. Bend through the right knee, take some circles with the hip. And then lengthen all the way through the right leg. Land the right foot on the mat. And then we'll take that flow on the opposite side. Landing onto the knees. Starting first by extending through your left leg. Lifting through your right arm. Find your balance, navel drawing in. And then we will flow with our breath. Inhale, stay long. Exhale, curl. 3 more, breath in. And then breath out. 2 more, inhale. Exhale. 1 more. Inhale, lengthen. Kick your heel back, reach your right hand. See if you can grab hold of your ankle, taking a back bend. And then releasing your right fingertips and your left knee. Land onto your right palm, keeping your left leg lifted. Turn onto your right toes, kind of like a kickstand, taking them off the mat. Lift your left arm all the way up and then land onto your left foot and reach your left arm towards the front of the mat. So big extension through your left side body. Come all the way up. Land your left palm onto your left thigh. Reach your right arm up behind you. 3, 2, and then 1. Come all the way back. Tuck your right toes. Lift all the way up. 3-legged dog. Lift the left knee. Take some circles. And then land your left foot. When you inhale, you're going to ripple all the way forward into a plank. And then when you exhale, come all the way back into a down dog. 3 more just like this. Breathe in. And then breathe out. 2 more. Inhale. And then exhale. 1 more inhale. 1 more exhale. Inhale, come all the way forward into a plank. Land onto your right elbow. Land onto your left elbow. Taking 3, 2, and then 1. Soften your hips and then lift your heart. Find yourself in your Sphinx. We're going to take a couple of back bends here on the mat. So slowly lowering. Didn't realize it was already 4:25. I was just into this flow. Inhale, lift. So we might go a little longer than 30 minutes in our vinyasa, maybe 35. Okay. Exhaling, lowering, land 1 cheek. So second variation, interlace your palms behind the sacrum. Inhaling, lifting your heart. 3, 2, and then 1. Exhale, lower, land 1 cheek. Third variation, if you want to kick your heels towards your bottom, gripping your palms to your ankles, this is your bow, your upward bow. You could take variation 1, variation 2, or you can kick all the way back, coming into your upward bow for 3, for 2, and then for 1, lowering, and then just let your heels windshield wipe from side to side. Come all the way back in through center. Release your feet. Land your palms underneath the shoulders. Push up through a table. Come all the way up into down dog. We'll take 1 more active flow before we drop down into our stillness of our yin. So take your right leg up towards the sky, 3-legged dog. Drawing your right knee in, step your right foot between your palms. We're going to lift all the way up into a standing crescent lunge. Open your arms into goalpost arms. Cross your right arm underneath the left, taking your eagle. Weave your arms together. Maybe you can high five yourself. And then lean your heart open, but zip in your core, so you're supporting the spine. Take 3 breaths. Oh my God, I'm wobbly today. 2. And then 1, come all the way up. Let's shift weight onto our right foot and see if we can lean forward into a warrior 3. And if you need to unweave your arms, that's okay. It's just a different arm variation. Can teach you something different if you're open to learning. Let's unwind and come all the way up to stand. And then see if you can cross your left thigh on top of your right. So sitting back into a Garudasana, an eagle. On your breath in, open everything. Oh my God, no. My computer is trying to do an update. God, today is that day. There's just like so many distractions. You're gonna lean all the way back. Land your hands on the mat. See if you can take a big step back with your left foot. So you're coming into a low lunge now and land onto your left knee. And then inhale, reach your arms all the way up towards the sky. Take them open. Interlace your palms behind your sacrum, pressing into your hands, and then lean back. And the beauty of these distractions is that they challenge you. Can you stay in the present moment through it all? Inhaling, reaching your arms up. Exhaling, palms to the mat. One low lunge twist, taking your right arm up towards the sky. And then if you want to land it on the sacrum, go ahead. If you want to kick the heel back and grip the foot, go ahead. Finding your personal variation. What works for you? And then release your left foot, release your right palm. Tuck your left toes, lift your left knee. Step the right foot back, one strong plank. 10, 9, 8, you got it. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Take your vinyasa flow. Coming all the way back up to your downward facing dog. Opposite side, left leg lifts. Draw your left knee in, step your left foot between your palms. Slowly come all the way up to stand, all the way upright in this crescent. Open your arms. Draw your left arm underneath the right, weaving the arms together. And then start to trust weight onto your left foot. Virabhadrasana 3. And slowly tilt up to stand. Can you cross the right thigh on top of the left, sitting back into your eagle. And then slowly unwind everything, stretching all the way back. Landing onto your fingertips, shuffling the right foot back, back, back until you come all the way up into your low lunge. Inhale, reach your arms up towards the sky, and then exhale them open, interlacing your palms behind the sacrum, lift through your heart, tuck in your chin, 3 rounds of breath. Slowly lifting all the way up. Take your palms onto the mat. Right palm grounds, left palm lifts up towards the sky. Flow into your variation of a twist. And then take that left palm all the way back. Tuck your right toes, lift your right knee. Step your left foot back to meet the right, strong plank. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Vinyasa. Come all the way up to a down dog. Land onto your knees. Sitting onto the heels for 1 moment. So we'll take one more kind of movement piece. Yeah, we're right on time, perfect. So we're gonna take a series called Dancing Camel. And this is just a bit more of an accessible and a different way to reach into camel. So what you're gonna do is land your right fingertips on the mat, so you're like tented fingers. And then when you inhale, use your quads to lift your heart up into a camel. Left arm is extended behind you, and then exhale, take it back, landing your left fingertips, lifting the opposite way. And if this feels like a long reach or a deep back bend, if you have a block or a book or something, you can also use a block to make it less of a deep and intense stretch and a bit more accessible for you. Move at your own pace, and I'll stop talking so much so you can really feel. Take one more of each side. And when you take the last one, come back in through center. Let your hands rest on your knees. And just check in with yourself. How's your spine feeling? Walk your hands forward. Let your forehead land on the mat. Let your body arrive in your child's pose, in your balasana. So this is the first pose that we started our practice with. And whenever I teach Vin and Yin, I like this to be our transition pose. It's like a ritual. Because Vin and Yin goes from two extremes. It goes from heat building and tapas and energy and movement, and then we switch, we flip the switch. And we drop into Yin. We let go of movement, we receive stillness. And so having this ritual of the same pose helps us make that shift. As I mentioned at the start of the class, we are going to be working into lateral side bends and heart openers, which is different from what I typically do in Yin. I typically teach a lot of hip openers. We're going to change it up. So you're going to slowly come up to seated again. And now for the first pose, we are going to take a hip opener with a side bend. So you're going to lengthen through your right leg, and then take your left leg and step it across the right. So your left knee is coming to stack on top of your right, and you're on the outer edge of the left foot. If this is not accessible for you for whatever reason, if your hip feels tight, if this is just not working, you can also just take a normal crisscross, okay? You don't have to go with this. Once we land the leg into whatever shape it's going to be in, we're going to come into a lateral side bend for the left side, okay? So it's the left hip that's opening here, and it's the left side that's going to take a lateral side bend. So you're going to land onto your right palm and start reaching your left arm over towards the right. So if you were with me in Yin on Tuesday night, we did this pose. Can't remember what it's called. Let me reference my notes. I have to admit that I don't super commonly work on the lateral side body, especially in Yin. I don't know why, it's just something I overlook. And then we did this pose this week and we held this side bend for 3 minutes, and it was like this tightness and contraction that I hadn't even realized existed was suddenly becoming released. And I realized that even the areas that seem small, they sometimes can be areas that, you know, need the most attention. So we've been here for 2 more minutes. We're just gonna stay for 1 more. What are the principles of yin yoga? You have to find your edge. You have to stay a while. You have to commit to stillness. And I think there's 2 kinds of people when they come to yoga. Either the yin practices really resonate with them, or either the yang practices really resonate with them. Take 3 more breaths. 2. And then on 1, you're gonna come all the way up. Land your left palm. Just uncross your left leg, lengthen it out. And then give yourself this moment to be neutralized. And just feel how the left side feels as opposed to the right. And then when you're ready, taking the opposite side. So right leg comes all the way across, right knee stacks on the left. Landing onto the outer edge of the right foot. And then walk your elbow down. If you want to support it on a pillow, go ahead. And then lift your right arm up overhead. So there's people that are drawn to yin. There's people that are drawn to yang. And the beauty of this class, the yin and the yang, or the Vin and the yin, is that you get a little bit of what you want, a little bit of what you need. So I myself, when I first arrived at yoga, was really drawn to the yang. Kept me moving, kept me flowing quickly, kept my mind distracted. The challenge for me was resting in stillness. And the reason why it was so hard was because we live in this world of go, go, go. Right? The Western world is goal driven. And in our yin practice, we encounter non-doing. We have to embrace being. It's difficult for a lot of us. If it's difficult for us, it is exactly what we need. Take 5 more breaths on this side. And slowly come all the way up. Uncross the leg. Just take a moment in neutral stillness. And I'm going to invite you to come into a seated posture. So you might be happy in crisscross or just seated on the heels. If you want a little bit of an extra stretch, another suggestion is to tuck your toes and sit on your heels. I'll come back a little bit so you can see me. So just like this. Either of those 3 options, the main thing we're going to do is target the neck. So we're not going to be here for super long, maybe about a minute on each side. How does that sound? Drop your right earlobe down towards your right shoulder. And then maybe landing your right palm onto your left side of the head. Maybe lengthening your left arm out to the side. So I saw this meme on Instagram. It said that yoga instructors who say, you know, just 5 more breaths or just 1 more minute, it's the reason why I have trust issues. And it really made me laugh because I think I am notorious as a yoga teacher for that. I will tell you guys, we'll be here for a minute or we'll be here for 3 minutes. And then I'll start telling a story and like 10 minutes later, I'll be like, oh, other side. But this time I promise I'm gonna watch the clock. Probably already been here for a minute. So let's just take it 5 more breaths. And then take your head all the way back up through center, drop your right arm. And then feel the difference from your left side as opposed to your right. Drop your left earlobe over to your left shoulder. And then lift the left arm up, anchoring it on the right side of the head. And then play with your right arm on this side.
This is one of my absolute favorite moves in yoga, because I think we carry a lot of our tension here. And I'll never forget the first time a yoga teacher brought me into this pose. It's my teacher, Della Hunt. And I was already a yoga teacher at that point. I'd been teaching for 4 years, but I had never encountered this particular pose. And I remember holding it and then just being brought to tears, because our body physically holds our trauma. It physically holds our stories and our pain. Just release the head all the way back up through center. You're still on the tucked toes, release them. And then let's just take some circles with the chin. I read a quote on Instagram, you know, us crying, that is proof that our emotions become physical. And if we cry when we're sad, then don't you think there's a connection between our emotions being stored in places in the body? Taking the head all the way back up through center. And then just arrive in stillness for a few breaths. So we're going to come into one back bending shape. And then if you want to stay there for Shavasana, you can, or you might move elsewhere. So take a couple of pillows. You're going to place those pillows at the end of your mat. And then bring your body to land, so your bottom lands on the mat. And then slowly start leaning your heart over these pillows. And then decide what to do with your hands. I find it comforting to place one hand on the heart and one hand on the belly. If you bring your soles of feet together, it's just going to be a little bit of a hip opening, knees knocking wide. But if that is not suitable for your body, you can also have your knees bent and your knees knocking together. Or you can extend the legs long. So what ways do you practice self-care? In what ways do you make sure that your cup is full? And how do you make sure that you're not pouring from an empty cup? I'll never forget when I first became a school teacher. I moved to Kuwait at age 23.
And I rode the bus into school each morning at 4:45 in the morning. School day started at 7 a.m. School day ended at 2 p.m. And I was on the last bus home at 4:30 p.m. or whatever time the last bus ran. I rode the bus into school on Saturdays. And I worked all night. There was no such thing as downtime. And at some point it clicked for me. It clicked in. That if you are exhausted, you're going to be the worst possible teacher. Right? Because you're tired and you're grumpy and you're not in the mood. And having a grumpy teacher with really nice bulletin boards, it's not going to be special for the kids, right? So I'm going to give you an option. If you're happy here in this supported back bend, feel free to stay for the remaining minutes. If you do want to stretch out into a traditional shavasana or a seated meditation, go ahead. But what I learned over the years as a teacher is that I was the best teacher I could be if I arrived at 7:30 a.m., the kids came in at 7:45, and the kids left at 3 p.m., and I was out behind them at 3:30. And I did zero work outside of the classroom hours. And if the marks weren't in on time, then the marks weren't in on time. But what the kids remembered is that they had a happy teacher. So in what ways can you apply that to your life? How can you carve in self-care? Because when you carve in that time for yourself, then you can show up for your loved ones. You can show up for your job. You can show up for all the places you need to show up for in a very whole and an energized way. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu, loka samasta sukhino bhavantu, loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Take your knees into your chest. Give yourself a little hug. Thank yourself for making it here, because sometimes that is the hardest part. And then just slowly bring yourself up to your seated meditation, hands at heart center. We'll take an Om sound, inhaling, exhaling, and inhale through to make the Om. So taking a breath in, breath out, breath in. Thank you so much for joining today from Toronto, from Canada, from UAE, from UK, from wherever you are, Niagara Falls. There's like this undeniable energy when we're all practicing together, separate but together. The light in me sees and honors the light that is within you. Om Shanti Shanti, peace. Namaste.
The Mindful Life Practice Community.